All right, so as you may or may not know, the rent moratorium has been extended at least through October for now, because we've kind of been down this road a couple of times since COVID has started. So I want to talk about my thoughts on the rent moratoriums and stimulus in general. I may also dabble in some other things that may have been bothering me. Warning, all right? This is not conspiracy theories. I am not a conspiracy thinker. I don't even know what that means. I am just an independent thinker. If you get upset or triggered by people's opinions, please go watch a video on cats. They don't have opinions that we know of. But if you do want to hear my opinions, and if you do want to offer any of your own, I encourage you to talk into the comments, and I encourage you to watch to the end. Stick around for all of that and more. It's Crystal with the Cash Compass. All right, welcome back. I am here to teach you all the things that you should have learned in school about money, but for whatever reason, they forgot to mention it. If you love all things personal finance, investing in economies, and of course sharing opinions and becoming a better person, you'll definitely want to subscribe. The button's right down there. Thank you in advance. Let's get into it. All right, an overarching theme that I have been seeing on the internet is people villainizing landlords. Like they're trying to stick it to the man. Yeah, that's what you get. I'm not paying my rent. A whole bunch of just what they say in my country, a whole heap of madaras, which just means a bunch of BS, right? There's been a lot of stuff going on. People vandalizing, or not vandalizing, maybe that too though, but villainizing landlords. I don't know how else to put this, but the landlords are not your enemies. Oh my God, and I could go down a whole rabbit hole about my opinion on this, but I think people always tend to attack the wrong person, right? Like you're mad at the wrong people. Don't get mad at the landlord. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, go get a real job, landlord. What the hell is a real job? Like a real job is a job that gives you money, okay? Being a landlord is definitely a real job. Please don't get mad because you ain't think of it or because you haven't pulled together the resources to do so. Anybody can do it out here, right? Some people are landlords and they didn't even use not $1 of their own money. Don't get mad at somebody for being more resourceful than you. And if I'm triggering you, let me know why in the comments. It's a real job. It's a hard job because there's people like that will have that mentality who probably can pay their rent right now, but they won't because they don't have to. And honestly, I can't say I'm mad at them, right? Because when are we going to have another opportunity to do this, right? When are you going to have another opportunity to not pay your rent because of a pandemic? I pray it doesn't happen in our lifetimes again, right? Because I'm over it. But so people are taking full advantage, but that does end up affecting these mom and pop landlords. Yes, those mega corporations, if you want to be mad at them, okay, but a lot of these people, this is their livelihood, right? They were working a 9-to-5 job. They did have a regular job, and they used their regular job to fund their dream of being a passive income owner. And instead of hating on them, you figure out how you can do it too. I have resources on my channel, matter of fact, so if you want, you can click up here. But don't get mad at them. Meanwhile, there are big companies out here who have been using our tax dollars for bailouts since 2008. They've been buying back their own stock, making their stock look good and making it look good for investors. But I don't see a public outcry or a organized group of people really upset about that, right? It kind of gets brushed under the rug. So I think we are targeting the wrong people. We shouldn't be targeting ourselves. And that I feel the way about a lot of different things, which I might get into a little bit later. But the point is, they're not the villains. These people are actually the backbone of our country, right? What do you want from them? Do you want them to give their house back to the bank so that a big company can own it? Do you think you're going to get better landlords if it's a mega corporation owning it? Like, really, let me know if you really feel that way. And I already touched on this, but some people literally do not need the aid. Similar to the PPP loan, similar to food stamps, similar to a lot of different things out here. Some people absolutely need it. Others do not. I have witnessed with my own eyes people getting food stamps that don't need it, okay? For whatever reason. They don't really need it. Food stamps do kind of have a more stringent process. I think every 6 months, I used to be on food stamps when I was in college. Every 6 months you have to kind of renew and you have to see whatever. I really did need it. I felt like I needed it, but I also had a job and my rent was also only $400. Like if I had to, I could have paid for myself, but why would I? You know what I mean? Like I wasn't balling. So it was super helpful. But if I really had to make ends meet, like I could have did what I had to do. But I think a lot of these programs just create a dependency. There are not good systems in check. And that's why I don't understand why people want to have bigger government. Is that the government don't really do a good job. Most government workers, y'all be hating, right? And y'all complain about the government. Y'all complain about USPS. And I'm guilty of that. I hate USPS. But you complain about a lot of these things that the government runs. So why do we want big government anyways? Like, I think private companies have been doing their thing for the most part, and they've been holding it down for the most part. But there are some people out here who really do not need this rent moratorium, but they are just using it as a way to just stack up on cash and stick it to the man, as I mentioned. So you're living rent free. You're doing your thing. You're buying all that designer stuff. I mean, it's really feeling good right now. Except it's really gonna come bite you in the... Do I need to say it? This has been going on for like over a year, and as from what I've seen anyways, it doesn't seem like people have the best relationship with their landlords. So chances are landlords are gonna come back with a vengeance, okay? They are going to be seeking to collect that rent because the back rent is absolutely due, right? There's no free lunch, there's no free rent. It's going to come back to bite you. But at this point, the tenant got Gucci shoes, the tenant got expensive vacations, the tenant might even have COVID. But what they don't have is that rent money. So they'll find themselves evicted. They'll find themselves owing tens of thousands of dollars maybe in some situations, depending on, how long they have been riding this wave. And that's going to screw them over. And then the landlords who cannot really pay it, because not everybody who's a landlord is filthy rich. Some people think that that's a huge misconception. Some of them really depend on this money from you, right? So now they have lost their home. Now their home's going to get bought up by maybe BlackRock. And then we're going to have a society where most people don't own anything, okay? Because these people with the big bucks, the people who you should be mad at, right? Or not mad at, but the people you should be keeping an eye on, they're the ones that are going to be buying up these properties, and then you will never own a home, okay? That's obviously slightly dramatic, but you get my drift. And the reason I say that is because there has been some relief for people who have mortgages with the government, right? Like if you have an FHA loan or something like this, there was relief for those people. I'm not sure if it's still going on right now. If it is, let me know in the comments. But that was only for people who have government loans. And if you have an FHA loan, you do have to live in the property. There's not really a set amount of time. Some people will like move in there, live in there for like a year and then move out or something like this. But you do have to live in the property, right? So for people who are living in the property, that's different. But for people who are investing, there was no relief, right? There was no telling the banks, oh, you don't have to pay. Don't worry about that. Don't pay the banks, right? There was none of that. So that's why I feel like it's an attack on the mom and pop people, right? Because why not stick it to the banks? Why not, if you're going to sit here, if the CDC, who I don't even know how they became in charge of anything to do with housing, but if they're going to tell you, listen, you don't got to pay rent, why can't they tell the banks, listen, you're not going to get your mortgage money either? The banks make that money. That money never existed in most cases, right? So they have a reserve requirement, or they no longer have that. So that money didn't really exist until you decided you went in there and you needed a loan, okay? So why not stick it to them? You guys are just creating money out of effing nothing. We have to actually work for our money, so why take from our pots? They can screw the average American, but at the banks, they like this, Oprah hands, right? They can't do it. And ultimately, this turns people against each other. Sure, there are people who are taking to the Capitol and whatever other places they can go to protest and stick it to the man and demand what they think is right? They believe that housing should be a right. And you know what? Shelter is a necessity. So to a certain extent, yeah, sure, I agree with that. But then have the government build houses for people, right? Like, why are you having people who bought this property on their own having to pay for that? If you think housing is a right, don't demand to not pay the landlords. Demand your government that you trust in so much that you want to control you. Demand them to make houses for everybody, right? With our tax dollars, as opposed to taking it out of some random person's pocket. But anyways, the point of what I'm trying to say is that all these things turn people against each other, right? Because landlords and tenants are beefing. I've seen it on the internet much more than I've seen positive, happy, hoopla, right? It's been drama. So they turn us against each other. Democrats and Republicans. Everything is to polarize us. Honestly, stop watching the friggin' news. If you watch the news, it's going to polarize you and make you hate people. And it's like, as I look around and I watch TV or I'm on social media, it's just disgusting, honestly, I have to be honest, like how much people hate other people's opinions. If your opinion does not align with mine, so what? You know, like I have to just live my life around the fact that people have other opinions. But I don't like us getting polarized and arguing with each other, because we are not each other's enemies, okay? This is going to be a little bit controversial, but like, for example, police brutality, right? Which stories really make the news? It's always mostly a white cop attacking and killing a black person, right? How many white people do you think have died unjustly at the hands of police? I'm sure it's been a lot, okay? There is no way in this God's green earth that a white cop has not killed a white person unjustly. But that's just not spicy enough, right? It's not going to make the news. And that is a perfect example of police brutality, right? But it's not going to make the news. Why? Because it's not controversial enough. It's not going to put you against each other. That's like normal. No one gives a damn about that. But white against black, oh my goodness, that's juicy. That gets people pissed off. So they're going to go and propel that and show that, but they won't really show you in great detail or repetitively white on white, right? Police brutality against a white person. That won't be on the internet. Same thing with the vaccine, right? Some people simply just don't want to do it for whatever reason. I don't know, right? But you'll see on the news, they'll pull somebody, look, this 15-year-old had to get a double lung transplant because he didn't get the vaccine or something like that, or just to scare people, right? So it's always a narrative. It's always to make people fearful or make people angry against each other, because when you're upset, when you're fearful, when you're greedy, those are very strong emotions, and it causes people to act irrationally. Whew. But let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with anything? Did I miss anything? I love to hear you in the comments. I'm going to start pinning comments more often, because there is so much good stuff in there that deserves to be spread and be front and center. So please share all your good information, because I want to hear it. I want to pin it. I want other people to see it, because you're smart. But that will do it. If you like this video, then please be sure to like this video and share it with your friends. And if you have anything else going on, you know what to do. Go ahead and binge watch me. And until next time, keep your money up.